really solid win on the road by the Ravens. I put a lot of stock in a team's ability to go on the road against a good team. And even though Houston's 0-2, this is a good football team. They held them to 51 yards rushing. They had 4 sacks, 2 turnovers, and gave up only 2 big plays. And they did it in the typical Raven way with multiple looks on the defensive side. When we go and we look at the film, in the first shot, this is classic Raven. You're going to see 5- and 6-man pressure coming off the left side. You see the Houston Texans making their adjustments in the offensive line. You see Queen off the ball. So what do? On the snap of the ball, the 2 stand-up linebacker defenders drop out into coverage, and Queen comes off the right side. This creates one-on-one matchups across the board that allows them to maintain the edge, and Deshaun Watson has to look at that front to figure out who's coming, who's not, and he ends up getting caught up in the rush. Now, the second one is just classic good picket fence defense. You're going to see across the board, everybody gets an arm-free, good leverage, holds their gap, gives David Johnson no place to go as he tries to cut back. There are no open lanes. There's no place for him to go. That's how they were able to hold the Houston Texans to under 60 yards rushing on the day. And this last one we're going to have to see a lot in the Kansas City game coming up because they are so explosive down the field. They got to play zone, obviously, to not let Kelsey and Hill go off down the field. But in doing so, if the ball's thrown underneath or they run the ball, this underneath coverage that has now passed the receivers off to the zone have to come up and do a good job of open field tackling. Here you can see Humphrey doing just that. Open field tackling is going to be a key against the Kansas City Chiefs if they're going to win, obviously, this week. The Ravens defense is playing at a record level, as we expect. They have 15 straight games with a takeaway. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. 7 defensive TDs by the Ravens since 2019, tied for the most in the NFL. They've not allowed 25 points in a game in 14 consecutive games, longest streak in the NFL. And they had 13 quarterback hits. That's the most since 2018, week 14, coincidentally, against the Chiefs. All of these factors are going to have to come into play if they're going to hold up against what is clearly the marquee matchup and the game that everybody thinks that we're going to see maybe as a prelude to the AFC Championship.